if the man at the local government is there, director, doing his own. And, okay, thank you, sir. Let me stop here. My time has finished.
I'm very sorry. We don't have that luxury of time, and I believe okay. Let me okay. You still have another session whereby you'll be available to talk. They want you to continue. Okay. With your kind permission, but don't complain that we are wasting your time. Okay. We all agree that we'll give them 2 minutes. And if I should continue to allow him to speak on, that means I am not being sincere to myself. So please, by the time we are going another land, he will be able to speak further. Thank you. So let me call on Madam. We'll be talking of inclusivity. People must be involved. But I think the way we've been practicing our planning, you now realize that the OT stop at the government table. Every conclusion must have been made before it gets out to the public, even we that are private consultant. You might not have that information before the real implementation of any policy. And by the time you ask your colleagues in the ministry, they will tell you they swear to an oath that they can't disclose what is happening within the system. And we said we belong to the same phylum. Madam, how do we now evolve the practicable use of inclusivity in our system? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, first of all, there are 2 issues here. One, the people in the private sector in planning, most of them wait for jobs to be given to them. They don't create jobs for themselves. What do I mean? You have seen an urban problem. You have seen that it's going to affect the urban area and the trend in urbanization. Have you taken it upon yourself as a responsibility to speak out without being paid? Are we actually only working for money, or we are also working to advance town planning in our countries, in our cities? That's on the side of the private developer, the people in the private sector. In the public sector, you are the head of an organization, you are the head of the department. Now, are you always going to go and implement planning that has been planned before? Are you always going to go and monitor the compliance of the plans given to you? Can't you be just creative? You should be creative in the sense that you can look at this plan and say, no, this can be done better this way. This can be done better to bring in these people on board. But most of them are probably afraid of losing their jobs. Some of us that have never worked are not afraid because we don't care. But those who are in the offices are afraid of their bosses and all that. And then, like he said, they will not call those in the private sector and say, see what's happening. Can you please do some advocacy? But unfortunately, some of our colleagues in the private sector say, I need to be paid. So for how long should we put money ahead of planning? For how long? So the issue of inclusivity is that there is always reactive planning. There is no proactive planning. We just sit down and say, okay, they say we should clear this place. They say we should do this, but have you involved the people? So if the head of department in the office is an inclusive planner or has inclusivity as his foci, he will call the private planners and say, come, give us ideas. Then they now go and implement. And if the boss does not implement, they now take action. For example, in the FCT, we not had a tribunal. I am a beneficiary of that tribunal because I had issues and the tribunal helped me to solve them. But the tribunal is not active today and nobody is saying anything about it. So it's an issue. So the issue compounds the fact that people in the private sector need to be creative. They need to see urban problems as their problems, as the problems of planning, and then start the job, do the advocacy, create the scenario of the urban area they need to see in the future. While those in the public sector needs to be more proactive, because most of the time, like I've been in Abuja for 30 years, planning administration has always been a compliance, implementation. I've not seen creative projection of, okay, let's redesign somewhere like Nyanya. Okay, how do we redesign it? How do we upgrade it? How do we bring in developers to cooperate with these people who are living in the informal settlements or the developed congested settlements to see how we can improve it? There is no even scenario whereby some of those things are discussed. It's just to go and mark, clear, and all that. So we need to be more creative and need to be more futuristic. And you know, it saddens me because in school, my brain was charging. When I came and see what's happening here, it's dead. Because most of the things, most of the things I learned in school, I created, I wrote, I can't do them. And I've made noise, spoken, and then we don't even, the young ones, when they come to some of our people in the private sector to say, okay, I want to be an intern, charge that child with a vision, a mission. You see what they will do. But they will tell you they don't have money to give you for transport money. And that is the end. The child is discouraged. Next thing, you see them being agents. You see them doing all kinds of jobs. And then, so we need to be more creative. We need to be more proactive in our planning activities in our administration. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your, just to satisfy the audience, I will now call on Town Planner Lawson again. I will give you just 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, sir. In terms of inclusivity, what do we do? I am a town planner in practice. There is a ministry where my profession is domiciled. There is a director and other town planners there. How have I agreed with them to work? How have I agreed with them to work together? If there is no agreement with my fellow town planner, I cannot involve my fellow town planner in planning matters. The director keeps it to himself, those in the public sector. The private practitioners are saying that there are no town planners in the ministry. How could it work? Number 2, participatory planning involves ensuring that all the stakeholders are involved. And if all the stakeholders are involved, we are indirectly marketing planning. But at many a time, we have our programs, planning activities, we do not fully involve bottom approach. It's a virus in our system that we need, I don't know the either Kaspersky, I don't know the strongest antivirus we can use to inject into our system to help us completely eliminate top-bottom approach. And let's involve the people from your family. How do you do the planning? If you cannot involve members of your family in major things you do in the family, how will you come to town planning and tell me that I should come and be part and parcel of it? You will find it difficult so to do. So I am saying for inclusivity, it's true that our law is not elaborate on that, but we know that it's part of what we're expected to do. In every bit of planning activity, let us involve the people from stage 1. That's my take, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Let me go back to the lead people presenter, Town Planner Mrs. Ellen Fadipe. I heard you saying, maybe Town Planner Steve Wenu, somebody mentioned it, that our cities are not being properly managed because the instruments of government for management are not readily available. Now that we don't have cities that are properly managed, I think that will give us a leverage, an opportunity to be able to work. Let me put it to Mrs. Ellen Fadipe, that what are the opportunities that await the town planner as a professional? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very, very much. And I know it's a difficult task, chairing a session, but just as the chair, I think it was the chairman who mentioned it to one of the speakers, part of the fundamental problem with implementation of planning is what we've just demonstrated here. I'm so sorry, with all due apologies, we as planners, we have to have more due regard to law, we have to have due regard to statutory processes. The facilitator spoke about 2 minutes each, but we all wanted him to expand on that. That's just a takeaway, because that translates into what we do every day. We keep on stretching the boundaries, and as such, it breaks. So when we are talking about administration and governance, even when we have the tools, we ignore the tools. We listen to the people who shout the loudest. I'm so sorry, I'm using this afternoon as an example, but this is the basic problem with planning in Nigeria. We as planners, we have no regard for rules. I'm so sorry. It's not like I don't want us to hear more from the gentleman. In England, what we will say to you is catch him on his way out, speak to him, converse with him, but we won't ask him to then take more time. So sorry. I'm going to just touch on my point. I know that, I just spoke about time. So in terms of the kind of tools that we need, we've both said it, both speakers, even though we did not see each other's paper, it's more about local administration, making sure that at that local level, we are empowering planners, we're having all the digital tools, we are compartmentalizing, which means we are breaking down areas into more manageable parcels for planning, so that in terms of urban governance, we can reach more people quickly. I'm aware of time, so I'm not really expanding on that right now. I have a message which Mr. President asked me to pass on, and I forgot. So I'm going to use my remaining 1 or 2 minutes to pass that on. During my speech, I did talk about what can we do as institutes. And I'm just going to talk about one of the international partnership with peer institutes, which I have already started working on. One of your planners in our midst, she was also at the dinner. The Ondo State delegates came to the National Planning Conference in the UK. It took place, 2 weeks ago? And Town Planner Fumi and the Chief of Staff, I invited them to dinner. And we had the President of America in that dinner table, and the President of the Irish Planning Institute. We are now looking at collaborating with the Irish Planning Institute. I've extended it to the NITP because I was speaking to him about planners in Nigeria. And Town Planner Fumi was also on the table, and she jumped into that conversation. So I'm speaking, this is not about Japa. I don't understand Japaism. This is about those who genuinely do not have work. And also, we're also about building youth capacity. So what we are speaking to the Irish Institute about is that the island need planners. And we are advocating that we have well-educated planners who can relocate to island to work. We are still trying to work out all the logistics. But the important thing is that we will let you know as soon as we have that. But what we want to do is showcase the best. So we are only going to put forward those that we know when they get there, they are going to perform. I really can't tell you more, but I spoke to Mr. President at lunchtime, and he wanted me to let you know that we are working on behalf of the Institute. And of course, to bring back the knowledge you've gained, just as I'm doing, to share with others. So, I don't know what's going to happen, whether people should contact somebody or the other, but for now, just, So I've been told that people need to register, but then I need to know whom they need to do that with us. But important thing is we are working with the jobs.
Thank you, no mass exodus. Thank you, Mrs. Fadipe. Let me direct my question to past President Steve Onu. In your paper, sir, you identify certain challenges which I believe you are very correct. You mentioned that equipment and lack of personnel are major problem facing town planning offices in most states of the Federation. Immediately you mentioned that. What came to my mind was that we'll be having town planners, including you, sir, that have been at the helms of our fear. We've had our people who are opportune and privileged to be commissioners, members of our state offices, our House of Assemblies, and so on and so forth. But yet, while in the office, they fail woefully. I can only repeat that. It's only in Lagos that I can see that crop of town planners who are being employed, which are not even adequate. What do you think is the problem with us and with the government in question? Thank you.
Thank you. Our problem is not limited to government alone. When I was in service, I was the director of town planning. I wrote a memo to government to recruit, to give us a waiver to recruit town, because I wanted each of the 26 town planning authorities now town planners. Shortly, through lobbying, connection, the government gave us a waiver. We employed 72 town planners at a stretch. Another government came. And demobilized all the 72 staff. That is why, in what I showed you on this slide, you could see a town planning authority with one technical assistant. You see another planning authority, one town planning officer. Part of our problem is that some of the people who are in government as our leaders have no business being in government. Some of the people we elect as governors have no business being in government. Some of them are not even knowledgeable as what they are supposed to do when elected. That even if you try to advise them, like somebody told me, when they will discuss you with the appointees, you will not be there. You could be made a scapegoat. We try as much as possible to get the people in government to do the right thing. It is only when you have an informed officer posted to a particular local government or the state, and he is knowledgeable to defend the profession, that he could now look at the commissioner in the face and say, sir, I'm sorry, this is what it's supposed to be. Let me tell you a simple reason. When I was in service, the government wanted to create a layout in a particular area around our television station, IBC. I wrote a memo to the commissioner telling him that you cannot locate a residential area within 500 meters to a base. Fortunately, I got that information for a reliable newsletter, and I cited it. I passed my memo through the PAMSEC. The PAMSEC wrote to the commissioner, please see the director's advice. I agree with him. And then the commissioner says, Steve Onu is not a health expert, he's not a telecommunication expert. He must take my instructions or we take it from there. That is a threat, isn't it? Now, shortly after that, he was removed, another person was appointed. The person came, I presented a situation. That one, our radio station will be out of air for the next 1 year. And if we are going to relocate it somewhere, the same area of land you used, you are going to acquire somewhere in order to implant the stay rod and the mast. Then when this thing was presented to the governor, he said, then what is the cost? That time he said it will cost 83 million to remove the mast and install a new one somewhere. Financial problem. They ran away from it. It's because I went extra mile to do a research to convince them that this is what should happen. The governor himself then became reasonable and said, no, we're not going to do a layout there. Allow the radio station where it is. And the radio station is still there today.
Okay.
So part of our problem is that the people who run the affairs of governance in this country, as at today, most of them have no business being in government.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the fact that we don't have that luxury of time, we will limit questions from audience. My Ogadia was saying we should limit it to 2, but I extended it to 3. So, if you have questions, we're having just Baba number 1, Baba Ogialo, Baba Professor Egunjobi, and Tamplana Awomosun. 3. So let's start with Baba, past president, chairman of the Board of Trustees. Thank you, sir.
All protocols observed. Thank you to the presenters of the papers. Thank you for the discussions. I was worried when I came in yesterday and somebody was talking about town planning being dynamic. Yes, it's a political statement, but a political tool for politicians to mutilate master plans. I don't want to go further, but I know you understand what I'm saying. If it is dynamic, then you can mutilate the master plan. It's dynamic. The other one is we also talked about inclusiveness. Very good. To what extent and whom do you want to include? Define whom you want to include. Maybe if I had time, I would have said whom I want to include. On development control, we want the institute to explore, the ministries to explore neighborhood control so that the neighborhoods themselves will control development. What their neighbors are doing, they will police themselves. The second, I'm sorry to say it, but it's true, we are now abusing our site analysis reports, impact analysis reports. Anybody can do anything, any town planner can write anything. And the people in charge of control, when they say that, don't even read it. They say, oh, a town planner said something. And they go on and abuse and mutilate. Okay. So that they abuse, they use these reports to abuse master plans. And in fact, when you go on ground, you'll see that all the town planners doing this, they never looked at the master plans. And in fact, this is the use of our town planners by politicians to do what you think the politicians initiated. The third one is, how can town planners, a town planner be in charge of a local government, and he sits as he sits, and unless the commissioner or whatever he is, or the governor says this place should be developed, there should be a plan for it. Unless a commissioner says so, unless the governor says so, he cannot do anything about it. There's no initiative. The lady over there said it. Let me limit myself to that, and could you please look at that? If not you now, but think about it and present papers on these issues.
Thank you, sir. Can we give a round of applause to Baba Obialo? Thank you for your positive contributions and suggestions. But it is time to reply. I think Steve Onu is in a better position to respond. Let me call our Professor Emeritus, Professor Lai Gunjobi, as number 2.
Thank you very much. My question.
You can have your seat, sir.
No, thank you very
much. You are permitted.
Thank you. I feel honored. My question addresses the first paper. I'm happy to hear that in Britain, you have people that are that have political training and skills to help in pushing your demands to political decision makers. I hope I got it correctly. My question is, how exactly do you do that? It's of interest to us. Are they consultants that you employ and pay for their services? or you select people among the planners who have political activity skills that do this lobbying for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The third, number three, I think Tamplana Tayo Umbusu. Please be brief.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, sir. Actually, my question has been partly asked by Professor Olaye Kunjobi, but I will reiterate again. The question is, we all agree that one of our major problems is we have a disconnect with the political system, the political process. We don't know how to get in. And every time we get asked here, it's been reiterated this morning that we should all go into politics. But we all know that the moment you are into politics, you are into your own self-interest all over again. It's not as if the moment town planner joins politics, he remains the same, serving just town planning. Now, so Mrs. Helen Fadikwe just said that in the United Kingdom, they have a system of reaching out to the political system, engaging with the political process. Exactly what I want her to throw light on this, because it seems to be a low-hanging fruit for us. At least in the short run, it could solve our problem if we know more about how these operate. Thank you.
Thank you. By the power given to me as the moderator of this session, I want to be gender positive. I think I saw a lady raising up her hand. Yes. Yes. Inclusivity.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to start on raising a protocol.